Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. I am your host Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Joe.
Joe, I think my boy, Nanami, might be my favorite character in all of Jujutsu Kaisen.
So this episode has a lot of stuff in it. However, I don't think anyone would mind if we spend the majority of today discussing Nanami, because that's really all I want to talk about. Joe, I fucking love Nanami after this episode. He's so cool.
He is badass. I do want to have a quick comment on one thing that I loved about this episode, and you just said it. There's a lot going on. We're jumping around between a lot of characters, a lot of different places, and there's a lot of different kind of little storylines happening, and they're handling it great.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of... It reminds me more so of like a war series or a war movie, because it's one big battle going on and we're flipping between all the different perspectives of everyone as they're kind of going through this stuff. It's similar to 1,000 Year Blood War Part 2 that just wrapped up a few weeks ago, but this, I feel like this is doing it much better because it is. Yeah, everything feels more tightly connected, like it's all wound together around this one, like the central problem is Gojo being sealed away and Geto doing that. And then everything kind of spirals out from that. And so it kind of feels like everything, it's all this web, and those two characters are at the center of it. And everyone else is working their way towards that center. Whereas 1,000 Year Blood War Part 2, there is a central antagonist in Yuhaba, and I guess a central thing that he's going for, which is the Soul King. But it's still more nebulous, and all the other fights aren't really people working towards those two characters or that conflict. They're just kind of like punching each other because they're all assholes. So it doesn't feel as tightly connected, and every time you flash back and forth to all the other characters, it's kind of like, it's cool, but it's not all unified, as opposed to what we're getting here, where we can get amazing moments that we're going to get to with Nanami, and you can also get stuff like Maki and Mai's grandfather being a drunk asshole, and then also Nobara getting a concussion, and Fushiguro's dad coming back from the dead. It's all these things happen, and yet it still all feels like one unit. I don't want that to go unnoticed, because that is a very hard thing to do.
Completely agree with you on everything, and you worded it really well. Getting into the actual episode, we start off with a Nanami dialogue, or monologue, I should say. And he's just kind of talking over things, like talking about his plan and everything like that, trying to figure everything out. And he finds our guy in the suit. I don't think he made it. They don't explicitly say. There's a point later on where he's talking to Nobara and the other girl who's in a suit. He like beats around the bush whether he's dead or not. I'm pretty sure he's dead. Nanami don't like that. He doesn't like when people get picked on.
No, he does not. Spiraling back to our man in the suit, I think he's alive? Nanami says, I did what I could for him. He was trained to be a sorcerer. And then he leaves it at that. So in my head, that means he's on the rocks, but he's still alive, which is why he was carrying him. Otherwise, I think he might have just left him. That, or he really cares about this one guy like we do because he loves his English voice actor. But I'm not sure. I think it would be far more impactful if he was dead. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Also, his name starts with an I, Suit Man. But again, I can't remember what it is for the life of me. I'm just going to call him Suit Man.
Is it like a GG or something like that?
It's like it's like IJ. I think there's a CH in there. I think it's like Ijuchi, or I don't know. I just like calling him Suit Man. People understand what we mean.
He's a cool guy.
He is. I love him.
And then we get into freaking Toji. And Joe and I, we talked about this last time where we're like, okay, is it him? Is he just like having his physical body and like his powers? And it seems that normally you just channel the body, but someone didn't account for the fact that it's Toji, and it looks like he's back.
Yeah, so I love the fact that the granny actually gives us an explanation in this one, where she's like, I normally only channel the body. I don't channel the soul, because you bring the soul back, you bring the person back. So great that we actually understand what the baseline of this should be. However, as we know, Toji's body isn't normal. He is way stronger, way faster than any sorcerer has any right to be, because if I remember correctly, he doesn't have cursed energy, he has a heavenly pact, which allows him to create or to accomplish these amazing feats of strength and speed and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and she gets fucked.
I have one note from this scene, and it's just the vavoom. Similar to Ichigo's vavoom back in Thousand Year Blood War Part 1. There's not even a sound with this one. It's just the imagery of it. And you're like, oh, she gonna die.
Yeah, you see him take like the step and you see his toes like coming down and they don't even touch the ground. It's just like a snap and then he's right in front of her. And yeah, basically she's like, look, we gotta kill, these jujutsu sorcerers. And he goes, well, aren't you a sorcerer? And she's like, fuck, he got me.
So this is what checkmate looks like. But yeah, I have many questions. Is he as powerful as he usually is? I'd assume so. But is there a timer on him being back?
I was thinking with her being dead, like, is the fact that the person that channeled him back being dead gonna be an issue? Like, I don't know.
That's what my question was, because isn't it usually when you kill the sorcerer, their technique ends? It stops. So I would have assumed when he killed her, he would have ceased being there. However, maybe because he's got like the special body, he's just completely overtaken the grandson. I don't know. It seems like we could be looking at a reincarnated Toji here.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're kind of like not hinting at, but trying to show. We don't really know too much about the reincarnation, transfiguration, seance powers in Jujutsu Kaisen. This is kind of the first time we're really getting it. It's definitely setting up for something, and I would love a Fushiguro Toji fight. That would blow my mind.
I feel like that's the inevitable conclusion we're going to be coming to here. Like, you don't just bring him back and then not have the two face off or at least talk to each other for a bit.
Exactly. And we do get to see Fushiguro in this episode, a little bit of time with Fushiguro and Itadori. Beanie Boy falls down from the building and they have to save him. Looks like he's still alive, again, just kind of on the rocks like you said. And they have to split up now. Yuji's like, okay, I'm gonna go take care, figure out this whole Gojo Sensei situation. You take care of him. And they split up. And I really thought that was gonna like lead into Fushiguro bumping into Toji somehow. Maybe we'll get that in an episode or two. We do get to see who Itadori bumps into at the very, very end of the episode. And that's the bloodbender cursed painting brother.
Yes, which I am very excited for because obviously Bloodbending brother, he ain't too happy to see... Well, he's happy to see Yuji, but that's because he wants to fucking kill him. So, very excited to see that. Again, second episode ending in a row where I'm like, oh, that's really good. He just, facing the camera, smacks his hands together. We've seen him use that ability before, and the blood shoots directly out into camera. Blacks it out completely, and then we go to credits. Good. I like it. 2 solid endings in a row. Oh, also in the beginning, well, I guess we can talk about this real briefly. I don't really... We get, what's her name, Mei?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I actually did enjoy seeing that, and I completely forgot that happened. I can't believe you brought that up. I literally was gonna go this whole episode and probably not talk about that at all.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to bring it up real quick just to be like, it's cool that she's there to scare the crap out of this curse user or curse. I couldn't tell which he was. The little boy. I know it's the comedy, but the really jilted animation of him clapping, where it's clearly just 2 frames played back to back. Like, very good. I hate him. I hate that little shit so much. I want to see him spiked by a foot into the ceiling of the tunnel they're in. That's
I enjoyed seeing her thought process with Gato and being like, wait a minute, this has to be an imposter. But wait, he's doing his powers. Is Gojo Sensei on this? No, that wouldn't make sense. But it was cool to see her and kind of be like, oh, wow, they haven't interacted since the Yuta Kotsu incident. So it was interesting to kind of see her thought process.
It's very brief, and I'm going to keep it real brief in here because that's pretty much all that happens. We know there might be more stuff to talk about with it later on, but for right now, it's just like, here's a thing, set up, all right, peace out, bye. So now, we can get into the real meat of this shit. Discount Edward Elric, he's running around, he's been killing all the people in suits. Nobara has split off with woman in suit. They're trying to do their own thing. They run into him, though, and immediately, he's like, hey, you gotta kill the person in the suit. They have a fight. Woman in a suit tries to run away, do her own thing. Turns out the sword is either sentient or can be utilized remotely with cursed energy or something like that. I still think it's a stupid sword design, but it does go up a little bit in my books because of how cool the system that it uses is. Nobara gets taken out so quickly, though, I almost I almost kind of wrote this off because I was like, we've seen Nobara go insano style against the two of the Cursed Painting brothers. She was amazing at the end of season 1 with Yuji, what she was able to do and how metal she could be. So seeing her fight this little twink and get her ass handed to her, like, she gets 100% concussed. And, like, it makes sense. But I felt like she was a little bit nerfed in this, and I was a little disappointed. I was like, man, I really hope at some point later on they give Nobara her dues, because she deserves to do so much more, man. I want to see her absolutely tear shop.
That is my only complaint in this episode. I was really disappointed with how Nobara was presented and how they kind of humiliated her. Again, she's one of my favorite characters as well. And I was like, holy crap, we get to see her in action. I was like, I hope this is going to be a good fight. And yeah, she just gets fucked up. I was like, all right, maybe this is supposed to show how powerful this guy is. And again, you know, his visuals and how he looks isn't necessarily in proportion to his power. Maybe he's extremely powerful. But I'm like, damn, Nobara would have put up more of a fight. Like, you really humiliated her. That frustrated me, and that's my only complaint. And that's, again, coming from a big Nobara fan. I agree with you. I hope later on she does get her due diligence. She gets a little bit of due diligence later on in this episode where she helps out a bit. But I think maybe the rationale for why her getting fucked up was to show, like, hey, these people are higher level and we need our high level people to take care of them.
Right.
And that's where Nanami comes in.
Yes. And I gotta say, animation for this episode, I didn't notice too much of any stylistic flair throughout it. Like, it still looks good, but it was kind of like the common denominator of the last couple of episodes for most of this episode until Nanami enters frame. And my god,
that man has a chin that could cut steel. God damn.
A chin that could cut steel, a back that could move mountains, and a chest that is fucking impenetrable. It is incredible the way he is animated and depicted here. There's a frame that is on screen right now. If you're looking at the screen, look at the screen right now. The frame of him. Look how big he is in this frame. Look at how tiny the little twink boy is. Fuck that little twink boy. Stupid. This boy. Oh, massive wall of a man. Good God. He's got one of my favorite character designs. I'm not biased. He's got one of my favorite character designs of all time, which is just triangle torso man in a button down with the fucking the gun straps. Like the you know what I'm talking about. Like, you got the thing that Captain America has, I think that Nathan Drake has. It's such a good, simple design, and it's used so well to show off just how fucking broad this man is. Like, wide Kylo, get the fuck out of here. No! Wide Nanami, baby. Wall Nanami. You got Wall Maria, you got Wall Sina, you got the other wall, and then you got the fourth wall, the secret wall. That's Wall Nanami.
I love me a man in a suit. I saw him and I was like, dear Jesus. And yeah, the stylizations of his face, the way it's drawn. Again, episode looks great. This moment in particular with Nanami, amazing. Music on point. Again, another just well-rounded, good episode. But this is by far the highlight and the most cathartic. Because it almost reminds me of, again, we're watching Bleach at the same time when Bleach, or when Ichigo finds Yuha, he's like, you didn't answer my question. Are you the one that, did all this to the Soul Society? And, Nanami, he just wants a simple answer. He's like, look, I want to know how many people of your team are here. Were you the one that, killed all those people in those suits?
Discount Edward Elric doesn't really get a chance to answer. Or he does, and Nanami doesn't like the answer, and he sends him through a fucking wall. It's incredible. I love it. The powers of the punch, not to mention the power of Blondie Boy's kick into Nanami, and nothing happening because Nanami is just that powerful at this moment. Great. It's so good. Again, the visual storytelling aspects of this, really, really strong. Also, the visual storytelling aspect, I don't know how many people, I imagine most people picked up on it because I think it's pretty, not advertised, but if you're looking at the character, you can kind of tell Blondie Boy's curse technique, I'm assuming, is like a cat with 9 lives type of thing, except he's got the 6 tallies underneath his eyes. And I noticed after he gets the ceiling caved in from Nobara, one of them had gone missing. And I was like, what the hell? And I was thinking, I'm like, either that's, you know, an animation error or like a art design error or whatever, or it's not. And there's something here going on. And after he gets punched, I was looking at his face, and now he's missing 2 of the tally marks. And he says explicitly, oh my god, that punch killed me. If it weren't for my ability, I would be dead. And I'm like, so it is. And it happens again, because Nanami runs over to this guy, and he just grabs him by the ponytail. And he's just, it's like, his face is like an old, gnarly tree. Like, that's how organic and knotted everything looks. It's so, you can see all the rage simmering underneath his skin. If his skin was any weaker, there would be fire bursting out of all of his pores. Like, that's how much fury is built up inside of Nanami right now. The fire does burst out of his fist, though. That's the fucking cursed energy. Oh, it looks so good. And I love how he makes this little Twinkie bitch break down. He's like, are you responsible? And he just starts crying and going, I'm sorry. And like, that's all the confirmation he needs. Drops him slow-mo. And then the anticipation of the punch. And then the frame of the impact. And he goes flying through the buildings. And you're like, well, glad that's taken care of. All right, time to go fuck up some more shit. Let's go, Nanami.
I did not pick up on the technique of the ponytail guy. That was really good on your part. That makes a lot of sense. Because now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, what did happen to those marks? So very cool. Again, showing, not telling, doing a great job with that. Fight sequences, it looked amazing. So satisfying. And I like the Nobara moment of like, wow, so this is what like a level 1 sorcerer is like. And after the fight is all said and done, also, I just love the little detail of him wrapping the tie around his hand. I'm like, oh, this guy's done for. You even get to see there's a quick frame of his technique, the little like sliding scale thing. Doesn't need to explain it again, because we already did that in season 1, where he got a great explanation of his power as well as an awesome backstory. So seeing him was great. This whole episode was awesome. Sets up a lot of great stuff moving forward. I'm interested to see where we're going to go, like where we're going to focus. I'm assuming what's going to happen is we're not going to focus on Mei that much. And then I'm assuming most of this is going to be Yuji and the Bloodbender, maybe introduce Fushiguro Toji, and then hopefully we get some more Nanami time, because at this point, this is the Nanami show. I could watch him all day.
I agree. I am very invested in Nanami's next fight, because I just want him to just keep barreling through people. Other than that, another really solid episode. Shibuya arc. I'm happy it's delivering. Very happy. Anything else you need to add, Joe?
Nope. Loved it. Said everything we needed to say.
Perfect. All right. With all that being said, everyone, always remember, we'll love you, we'll leave you, and goodbye.